Hi, my name is Beth Prescott, and I am one of the senior researchers on the Education Unit at the Centre for Social Justice, or CSJ. This week, the CSJ has launched our latest paper, Out of Sight and Out of Mind, shining a spotlight on home education in England. Home education is on the rise, with an estimated 81,196 children and young people being home educated at the start of the 2021-22 academic year. Prior to the pandemic, the cohort of children who are home educated was growing by around 20% year on year. And the cumulative number of children who were home educated over the course of the last year was over 115,000. This is an alarming 34% higher than before the pandemic. While a parent's right to choose is rightfully enshrined in law, fundamental questions remain around how best to ensure all children in home education are there through choice, have access to a high quality education, and are safe from harm. Therefore, we launched an investigation into home education, where we analysed existing data and conducted in-depth interviews with 10 local authorities about home education in their area. Our recommendations from this research provide a blueprint for a new home education system which balances rights with responsibilities, offering greater transparency and additional support for parents. Our report has highlighted the range of outstanding home education routes. However, we also shine a spotlight on those who have become invisible through home education. These children are out of sight and out of mind. Children with additional vulnerabilities, for example, are disproportionately likely to be out of the school system by the end of Key Stage 4. And it is estimated that around half of these children are in home education. For example, a child who has been persistently absent from school is more than 3 times more likely to record no final destination at the end of Key Stage 4 compared to a child who has never been persistently absent. A permanently excluded child is 2.5 times more likely to record no final destination compared to a child who has never been permanently excluded. Additionally, more than 1 in 20 children classed as long-term disadvantaged record no final destination, and a child who has ever been sent is also more likely than a child who has never been sent to record no final destination. These children are already on the margins of our education system and are now being further hidden from sight. Parents should have the right to choose what education their children receive. They know their child best to make informed decisions about what their child needs. This right is enshrined in law and needs to be respected. However, the current system is not equipping parents to make a free and fair choice, nor supporting them to deliver that choice. Our research found a growing cohort of parents opting for home education because their child's needs were not being met in school. This may be as a result of insufficient SEND support, a lack of mental health provision, or unresolved serious bullying incidences. Our investigation also found a concerning number of parents being coerced into home education for reasons other than their child's best interests, known as off-rolling. In these cases, parents are often left deliberately uninformed about the consequences of being moved off-roll, as well as with little or no support for home education. Educating children at home is no small task. It requires a lot of time and effort. Due to a lack of data on home educated children's outcomes, we cannot make firm conclusions about the overall quality and suitability of home education. From the limited data available, we know that many parents are delivering high quality home education for their child. However, some home educated children are being left without access to an appropriate quality of education, with parents struggling to cope with the demands of home education. The local authorities that we spoke to echoed this, telling the CSJ how they wanted to offer much more support for parents, but simply did not have the funding or resources to do so. Most concerningly, some children who are home educated have been subject to safeguarding concerns, such as serious neglect, emotional abuse, and intrafamilial abuse. And in our conversations with local authorities, we heard about a range of safeguarding concerns, including county lines involvement, gangs, and exploitation, as well as child employment. So how can the system be reformed to offer better protection for children out of sight while enshrining that parental right to choose. We have highlighted 5 areas for reform that, if addressed, would create a more collaborative home education system which enables all children to thrive. These areas are improved oversight of home education, greater controls on off-rolling, more robust quality assurance, strengthened safeguarding, and more extensive support for home educating families. And our recommendations in our report include implementing the Children Not in School Register in a way that encourages multi-agency working, particularly in cases where a child might be at risk, strengthening guidance on what constitutes a suitable education, additional powers for local authorities to make more frequent visits to see a child in person to spot any safeguarding risks, a 2-week cool-off period and 6-week right-to-return period to allow a child to return back to the same school should their parents decide against home education, and funding for every child in home education to sit their Maths and English GCSE, as well as a pupil premium funding to follow children from low-income families and form an education dividend. We believe that government policy should work towards creating a new system which cultivates trust and collaboration between parents, schools, and local government, which will enable all children to thrive in education.